Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. Welcome to all our new watchers and subscribers. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Serge Delmar, and I grew up in Scientology. I am a third generation Scientology kid that grew up there, that was forced to grow up there, you guys. And today we were going to talk about whether Riley Keough is freeing herself from Scientology. And in the spirit of that, I wanted to play this little song. I wanted to get you guys in the mood as we continue to welcome everyone in.
I remember when I was a little girl and our house caught on fire. I'll never forget the look on my father's face as he gathered me in his arms and rushed through the burning building on the pavement. And I stood there, shivering in my pajamas, watched the whole world go up in flames. And when it was all over, I said to myself, is that all there is to a fire? Is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Let's break out the booze and have a ball. If that's all there is. And when I was 12 years old, my daddy took me to the circus, the greatest show on earth. There were clowns and elephants and dancing bears, and a beautiful lady in pink tights flew high above our heads. But as I sat there watching, I had the feeling that something was missing. I don't know what, but when it was all over, I said to myself, is that all there
happy
is to the
birthday.
circus?
We love you, and we're advocating for you.
Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Let's break out the booze and have a ball. If that's all there is. And then I fell in love with the most wonderful boy in the world. We'd take long walks down by the river, just sit for hours gazing into each other's eyes. We were so very much in love. And then one day, he went away and I thought I'd die. But I didn't. And when I didn't, I said to myself, is that all there is to love? Is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friend, then I know what you must be saying to yourselves. If that's the way she feels about it, why doesn't she just end it all? Oh, no, not me. I'm not ready for that final disappointment. 'Cause I know,
Ready
just
for the
as
final
well as I'm
disappointment.
standing here talking to you, that when that final moment comes and I'm breathing my last breath, I'll be saying to myself, is that all there is? Is that all there is? If that's all there is, my friends, then let's keep dancing. Let's break out the booze and have a ball, if that's all there is.
Yay. Is that all there is to the fire? A song that we are dedicating today to all the kids that grew up in Scientology, a song that we're going to dedicate today to all the kids that grew up in oppressive systems for which they couldn't consent. Because we do want to bring it right back to where the conversation truly belongs, as everyone is here joining us and wanting to really talk about this book published by Lisa Marie Presley and her daughter Riley Keough, From Here to the Great Unknown. So picking up this book, you guys, and I will be doing my review along with all of you, but it's been very hard to pick up and then to put down. But I did want to sort of gather my thoughts and be able to express myself as cohesively as possible and give you guys an intro as to my thoughts of the situation regarding Riley, regarding what she is facing, in my opinion. So this is what I wrote that I wanted to share with you guys. Riley Keough-Presley is just another kid that was forced to grow the F up in Scientology. Riley Keough's decision to publish her mother's memoir stands as an act of immense courage, not just as a daughter honoring her mother's truth, but as someone willing to defy a system that thrives on secrecy and control, Scientology. And more personally, her own grandmother, Priscilla Presley. It is no small feat to go against Priscilla, a woman who not only wielded power within the Presley family, but also openly defied Elvis' wishes by dragging his family into Scientology, a move that would forever change the trajectory of their lives. Elvis was clear. He wanted no part of Scientology for his family or his legacy. We literally just published that on our community tab, so go see the receipt to see how against Priscilla went. Priscilla disregarded his wishes, entangling both of their lives and money in Priscilla's cult of choice. A betrayal that Riley is now, whether intentionally or not, helping to unravel. Riley's decision to publish this memoir is a radical act of self-liberation. She is standing against the very force that has silenced and controlled so many, including her mother. For Riley, who grew up in this level of dysfunction, caught between the weight of her family's legacy, the manipulations of the cult, and the personal trauma her mother endured, choosing to allow this truth to come to light is nothing short of literally revolutionary. Priscilla's involvement with Scientology didn't just bring them into the fold. It enforced the kind of dynamics that twist the truth to protect the institution, regardless of the harm it causes. Priscilla and Scientology always win. It's like a rigged casino. It's a very rigged system of corruption they have artificially propped up for themselves. Let's make sure that's clear to you, Priscilla. Artificially propped up. That's where you stand today, artificially propped up. Lisa Marie's memoir, particularly the revelations about the alleged essay she suffered at the hands of Priscilla's then boyfriend, Michael Edwards, shines a light of how Scientology and Priscilla, in this case, Scientology parent Priscilla, managed to turn something horrific into a situation where Lisa was essentially, effectively blamed as a child for pulling it in. Scientology's euphemistic term to help hide and cover up, including but not limited to self-admitted felonies. Right, Priscilla? Isn't that what the sect checks are? And for all of you that want to go, oh yeah, but the Catholics do it too. Do the Catholics write leading questions that ask specifically if they've committed a felony for which they have not been arrested? If someone can show us where the Catholics ask that in the Bible, where they're getting that level of self-incrimination all around the whole entire institution, then we're going to start believing that this was a religious experience. But right about now, this is an illegal deposition at best, where people self-incriminate, but they're paying money to be told that, oh, don't worry about it, we can float it. We have a technology that you won't believe. Right or wrong, Priscilla? The idea that children pull in abuse or that they are adults in small bodies is a dehumanizing doctrine pitched by a convicted for fraud felon, L. Ron Hubbard. And this is what has been allowing countless of abuses to be swept right under the rug. Oh, never mind, it's all a religious experience over here, you guys. Look over there, because everyone's having a religious experience inside Big Blue. Everyone is having religious experiences inside the Fort Harrison Hotel, the Manor Hotel, the Sandcastle Hotel, the Yachtsman Hotel, the Mariner Hotel. How many religious experiences are being had? How many exactly? Priscilla's decision to not only, but also fully endorse these dangerous to all children teachings. Priscilla, who do you think our mothers looked up to when they were going at the hotel? Oh, you guys, did you hear Priscilla's here? Or aren't we all so special? Oh yeah, Priscilla's here. Because you were there, Priscilla, our mothers thought, oh yeah, this must be very legit. Because otherwise Priscilla wouldn't be a part of this, right? Who gave them your celebrity endorsement, Priscilla? Ask yourself that question in front of a mirror and see what type of question jumps at you. How many mothers did you ensnare into Scientology, Priscilla? How many of our mothers were you pitched as a success story? Oh, don't you want to be like Priscilla? Don't you want to look like Priscilla? Don't you want to be doing commercials like Priscilla? Don't you want to be a star like Priscilla? Do the courses, do the audits. Maybe one day it's going to happen for you. Because, you know, Priscilla does come around. So, yes, you guys, Priscilla was paraded around in front of those hotels to act as a magnet to get more moms to be like, well, if I could just be like Priscilla, let me sign up for this shit. So you, Priscilla, what type of FSM, what type of 10% commission were you getting on how many mothers did you recruit? Because you know what? The documents are there. They exist at the hotel. So it'd be very quick for you to just call up your little handler there and be like, hi, this is Priscilla. I need to know how much money have you paid me since I started here back in the 70s when John Travolta pitched this bullshit to me. Yeah, how much money have I received from y'all? How many 10% checks have I been cut? Was I the FSM of my daughter, Lisa? Did I get a 10% every time she did a course? Or was it John Travolta? Which one was it? Was it me or John Travolta? Who was getting the money every time Lisa got audits? Who was getting the money every time that Lisa was being forced to do a goddamn course, Priscilla? A disgusting grooming course that you would know how disgusting it is. So for all of you that want to go, but the Scientology parents had no clue. They were taking the course themselves. Breaking news to all of you that really want to go, oh, we really know what Scientology is. Do you? Because it's grooming, disgusting courses that all Scientology parents are in the know about. Fully. It's called None of Them Don't Know What the Course Says to Do. They all read it and go, my child is an adult. Go do that. Go drill that with a doll. And then, yes, let's get you locked up in a hotel room to really, you know, data mine some really, you know, interesting, very highly sexually explicit questions, including but not limited. Lisa's trauma was managed by Priscilla through these people. And rather than protecting her, it reflects how deeply entrenched Scientology's warped mindset that she paid as a full-grown, consenting woman that she is to believe. That's a problem you have today, Priscilla. You were paying to believe it. You shoved this down Lisa's throats. Thank God Lisa didn't shove this through Riley's throat. Because Lisa didn't want to be like you. Lisa wanted to be the complete polar opposite of you. She wanted to be a mom. You didn't want to be a mom. She didn't outsource her mother things. You did. But you still shoved this Scientology disgusting things down her throat. You never gave an F when she wasn't doing well. And there were plenty of times that she showed you she was in distress. And how did you act? Like the cold, you know what you are. By publishing this memoir, Riley isn't just challenging Priscilla's role in the family dysfunction. She is breaking a generational curse. A curse that you propped up, Priscilla. Not just for your family, for families all across America. Because aren't you the big influencer? Oh yeah, you guys don't think that Scientology mothers aren't proud of the fact that they get to hobnob with Priscilla. She's coming to the hotel, you guys. Let's all go to the luncheon. Let's all go to the hibiscus and really eat together next to Priscilla because she's going to be there. We've been told. This is the course that is going to be directed back to where it's supposed to go, Priscilla. The ethics have to go in and not inside of the hotel. For once, you're going to get your ethics in reality. This is a severe reality adjustment. Because Riley is standing up not only for her mother and herself, but for all who have been silenced. She's leading by example, showing this is what it looks like to publish what I needed to publish here. It's been said. She's corroborated everything that we have been denouncing, Priscilla. She's put you on blast. Imagine you with no self-awareness. Imagine you shove yourself down in Memphis as your little PR stunt. Are you really going to be a surprise? Yeah, it was a surprise appearance. That's what it was giving. And imagine you don't see the stench of your appearance there based on everything that's been weighed against you in that book, Priscilla. But you laugh it all up. You're there laughing it up. Oh yeah, if I just come up tone and I just laugh it off, then America's really going to buy what you're selling, right, Priscilla? Because that's worked for you pretty good until now, until today, that people that know who you are calling you out. And let's start with your daughter's very, very, very disturbing allegations of a cover-up of a felony, Priscilla. In case you don't know that, go check with all the lawyers that you do keep on retainer. Check with them. Check with them if you really should have been orchestrating an apology between your boyfriend and your underage daughter. Was that advice you were given at the Scientology hotel, Priscilla? Because it's not a religious advice. It's not religious advice. It's not religious whatsoever. It's called obstruction of justice, and turns out it's a very, very high, troubling criminal act that anyone could really be doing for themselves. It's called once you know, what did you do? It's called once you were told, what did you do exactly in the physical universe? Not in your delusions of, oh, well, used to be like that back in the day. You have no idea. Well, good. Today, we're not back in that day. Today, we're right here. And we are analyzing what's been put on the public record. And we are demanding answers that make a shred of sense. Because our intelligence has been insulted over and over and over. And today, we're not kids. We're adults in adult bodies, Priscilla. So everyone that's denouncing you is a full-grown adult. So start making sense. For everyone that's been forced to keep silent out of fear, or for bringing shame upon their family. But a toxic family is defined as a family that sticks together by abandoning each other on the daily. That is what Scientology programs into all adults, paying to become willing surrogates of convicted for fraud felon L. Ron Hubbard. It takes immense bravery to pull back the curtain on a system that has controlled so much of our lives. To acknowledge the unthinkable emotional levels of manipulation. And to refuse to let that highly sanitized narrative be the approved narrative that can be told. As a kid that also was forced to grow up in Scientology, I deeply respect and empathize with the position Riley finds herself in. It is difficult enough to grow up in a family that through no fault of their own was manipulated into becoming entrenched in Scientology. And then now also having to do so while grappling with the unimaginable losses she has endured in such a short span of time. When is enough enough? When? Now she has to grapple with the burden of celebrity and public scrutiny on a whole other level of complexity, right? Because let's make everything more complex, more difficult, more traumatic, more untenable. Riley has chosen not just to preserve her mother's legacy, but to take the difficult, painful steps towards breaking free from the toxic elements of her family's past. A past she had no shred of capacity to consent. A past that her own mother had no capacity or shred of ability to consent. A past that her father had already said no. In supporting her mother's truth, Riley has made a choice that goes against everything Priscilla and Scientology have worked so hard to maintain. An image free of Glutz PR. That's what they call it inside the hotel, you guys. Oh, that's Glutz PR. You wouldn't want the people out there saying that. And that's why you're so fake, Priscilla, because all you've done is falsely sanitize the narrative as you propped yourself up in a position where you would always be the casino that won, that rigged all the slots machines. You set up everybody. You perfectly set them up as if they were literally sitting ducks. They worked so hard to maintain an image free of gluts and public embarrassment because, in fact, they could not have been or acted any more shameless as willing co-conspirators that rubbed each other's backs while standing on the backs of everyone in that family who's deeply exposed to vulnerabilities that shouldn't have been there, that should have never existed. Or not, Priscilla? Or do you think that they really should have existed? Or do you think that you really had your ethics so in and you really were trying to save our world? Riley's decision to side with the truth over protection is something that those of us who have experienced similar dysfunction in our Scientology parent matrix, family Scientology matrix of dysfunction, understand on a very deeply personal level. So we hope that Riley can continue to walk this path of truth and reconciliation, because the receipts are starting to show that things can finally start making sense, because the truth corroborates itself. So all this to say is there should be no more kids in Scientology. It's plain and simple. It's not complicated, not difficult. We're talking common sense. We're crying out for common sense to enter the conversation. In present time, today, we don't give an F whatever in the hell they said, oh, we really had it approved. It was very legal. The facts never changed. The convicted felon was typing away all of his disgusting directives that give none of our Scientology parents, none of our Scientology grandparents a shred of plausible deniability. Everyone knew. That's the problem with the Scientology family matrix. Everyone knew so much beyond the beyond of there were no common sense boundaries. How many more times do we have to say the same thing? There's no common sense boundaries. L. Ron Hubbard ripped those away. It's an adult, at best, adult's game only. At the very best. If people still want to do it and they're all about L. Ron Hubbard, then go do it with other adults that consent. Have at it. See if anyone can care. Just hire more attorneys that make more consent forms to just make sure you really cover yourselves. Because the shit that you're into inside of those hotels is extreme to the nth degree. We don't give an F that little dolls and teddy bears and little clay demos and everything would look very infantile, because aren't all of these adults getting full unfeathered access to underage kids? That's very normal, right? That's what every religion does, right? Right, other religions? Is that what your books of other religions say to do? Just open up all common sense boundaries, attack the kids, call them adults, teach them that they're disgusting, degraded people. And everyone's doing that based on a book that said to do that. Because what I understood from religions is that they at least have a shred of plausible deniability in that the books don't usually outline the type of shit that L. Ron Hubbard did outline for himself. Given the fact that L. Ron Hubbard didn't think he was writing theology. L. Ron Hubbard said he was writing technology. Everybody there is programmed as a robot. They pay to become that robot. That's the problem with you, Priscilla. How much money have you paid to become their robot? To think like L. Ron Hubbard. What would L. Ron Hubbard do when Lisa was telling you, Mom, I have to go. I have a really pain in my stomach. Okay, great. I'll see you later. Bye. Like, L. Ron Hubbard would say that she's a PTS. So is that how you viewed it? Oh yeah, bye. I'll see you later. I won't even check if you got home okay because I'm not even worried. That's what we're discussing here. And we're discussing two kids that grew up in Scientology whose life was wrecked. And Priscilla, you might have not been the only one wrecking their lives. Maybe we were not just the only one, but you're the one that brought everyone to the place where then other people would have unfeathered access to gaslight them, manipulate them, coerce them, tell them they're really going to help them with their trauma only to re-traumatize them. That's why Lisa said she was hysterical as you were trying to kick her out of the house, projecting that she was the one with the problem, right? You had nothing to do with the problems that she was literally going through. But there you are. Oh, she doesn't need any mental health. Let me really take her to a hotel. What type of parent takes a child underage to a hotel when they're exhibiting clear signs of abuse, clear signs of mental health problems? And before you go, oh, back in the day, they were saying the same shit. Yes, some psychiatrists could be out of their mind and crazy. I'm sure they are. And I'm sure that the law can take care of those. But the problem with you, Priscilla, is that you project that every psychiatrist is out of their mind. In your hotel, take a look at who's out of their mind. Before you go projecting and saying, oh, everybody there is crazy, grab that finger and point it to yourself and see if you see any of that cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, how stupid. Seriously, you guys, I'm sorry. Like, how much more clearer can it be? Like, cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Like, I just got the picture of her bloated face. Like, you're stuffing Cocoa Pops. Like, time to stop, woman. Time to get a reality check. Time to really, like, come to present time. That's a command that you would understand, Priscilla, because I did teach you that at the hotel. So this moment comes for you to come to present time. The year's 2024, and you're being expected to look back and go, whoa, what the hell did just happen with my entire family lineage? And what part of that are you responsible personally, Priscilla? We need to know what you did with your own two hands. How many people you FSM'd? How many people you brought in? How many checks were you cashing to bring people in? Let's just start with that one little tiny homework assignment for you and see if that starts to rattle anything inside of your head. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, you guys, and again, Priscilla, we're gonna go there because we're gonna be advocating for Ben. And if you see the way you speak about Lisa's pain after losing Ben, it's giving very like, oh, it happened over there. Oh yeah, she really couldn't get over the death of her son. He was your grandson. And you can check our community tab, Priscilla, in case you haven't noticed. Ben was having a hard time with Scientology. Ben was having a hard time with falling on that gaslighting maze cycle of people taking advantage of you because you are vulnerable. But you're not willing to take responsibility for anything because according to you, you've done everything right your whole life. Everything's been wonderful and you couldn't have been more amazing and more accomplished. And we're failing to see the accomplishments in the physical universe, Priscilla. Accomplishments from the press, yes, you buy those accomplishments. You pay people to sanitize your image and sell you as whatever in the hell you're selling out there that you really should stop selling because nobody wants to buy it. People are just literally up to their neck and ears in seeing pitches from you that were just, turns out, all self-serving. Because maybe Lisa and Benjamin would still be with us if you had just said, you know what, I really like it at the hotel. I love it there. I can't stop writing success stories for myself. But, you know, given the fact that I do know what the courses are, given the fact that I do know what the audits are, given the fact that I do know what the ethics handlings are, not for Lisa. Let me keep her out of this. Maybe this is not appropriate. Maybe this is pushing it too far. Hmm. Yeah. The sadness in Ben's eyes, the sadness in Lisa's eyes. But you know who doesn't have sadness? Riley. Riley's having to literally deal with these hurricanes all by herself. These schemers using undue influence, using undue leverage, having blackmail over people. Oh, you really need to not talk to that person anymore because they did say something critical of the president's office. So you really need to cut them out. That's the type of crisis management being done on, including but not limited to, Lisa's kids. Oh, you still want to talk to your childhood friends? Well, you know what? You better not say anything like that ever again. You better, do good roads, good weather. You guys, that's what they teach at the disgusting, grotesque Scientology hotels. Oh, we're going to teach you how to go good roads, good weather. Oh, yeah, that's going to solve everything because you know what? If you just go, everything is great, everything is wonderful, we've had a great life together, everything is amazing, because we're still trying to prop up Priscilla to, who's been helping you, Priscilla, this whole time? Who's been in your corner as you've been siphoning for yourself, as you've been a parasite? Someone that didn't bring anything to the table, someone that just kept taking from the table. That's who you are. That's who you literally are. Someone that takes from the table, someone that puts everyone, throws them in a literal pothole if it's going to get her coming ahead. So you didn't understand the assignment of motherhood. You didn't understand the assignment of being a grandmother. You didn't understand the assignment of being a human. Compliments of L. Ron Hubbard. So if you want a complaint, start typing your complaints to L. Ron Hubbard, your grandmaster daddy, Priscilla. If someone sold you a fraud, go to him. Elvis told you, don't get involved in that fraud, Priscilla. But there you go, real press to be accepted. Oh, you have a celebrity center here? Oh, then I don't have to try hard to be a celebrity because I'll just be at the center. That's how stupid you are. All it took is to put celebrity center outside and you went, oh, I want to be a celebrity and I'm not one. Oh, and I can just offsource the babysitting to these people. There you go. Deal with Lisa. She's real crazy. She can't stop being downtown. That's the problem with you, Priscilla. That's the literal problem with you. Notice how you're nowhere to be found in this photo. Oh, you think this was just a mistake? This is by design, Priscilla. This is called a design. This is by design. You can see their body language. You can see who's protecting who here. You were not protecting. That's clear. You've never been protecting anyone but your own self-interest. What are her accomplishments? Priscilla, she did a bunch of commercials. She did a couple of series here and there. All stuff that the hotel was getting for her, you guys. So don't forget that this is what Scientology was getting for Priscilla, and Priscilla was giving full unfettered access to her daughter. Oh yeah, help me become an actress. Help me book a commercial, please. Can you go beg a Scientologist to hire me? Oh, Priscilla Presley. Oh, you're part of the president's office. Let's get you hooked up real quick. Can you tell us about Lisa almost dying in Clearwater in 1997? She was hospitalized there. I mean, you guys, like we went over yesterday, and we'll be covering that. Today we were covering Riley and Riley's situation. So I think I'm just gonna try and stick there because you see how, All of these conversations are still very highly triggering when you really think about it, because it just exemplifies and exacerbates the dire need to have a bunch of people that are playing dumb on purpose start opening their eyes. And you need to pry them open. This is the season of open your eyes wide shut. Open them now. Not tomorrow, not, oh, mañana, we're going to really figure out that this is wrong. Figure it out today. Today is a great day to figure it out, that you shouldn't be a complete and utter surrogate of a convicted felon that was already convicted for fraud. Today would be a great day to have that cognition. All the Scientology parents, all the Scientology executives, every last consenting adult in there. Today would be a great day to put the L. Ron Hubbard book down, to burn all the BS definitions that mean nothing anyways. I don't give an F how much you paid to learn those definitions, Priscilla. Put the definitions down. Start there. Start deprogramming your goddamn self. You're a grown-ass adult. That's the problem with adults. The indoctrination, you paid to become indoctrinated. That's what you call consent. That's what you call, you had skin, financial skin in the game in becoming who you became. So if you have a problem with that, Scientology parent, go and take it up with L. Ron Hubbard and the rest of his executive surrogates. Stop pointing at your children as if we were the ones with the problem. We didn't want to be there. We thought our parents were weird. We were disgusted. We were repulsed. Oh, but don't you dare have a critical thought, because then, oh, they're going to come after you. You're going to see real consequences. Real consequences. And as much as the Scientology story has been whitewashed, has been parodied, has been, oh, it's all about Xenu, BS. It's all about the kids getting locked up and re-traumatized over and over and over again, because all adults are out of their MF mind. It's called delusional. It's called L. Ron Hubbard gave them the Kool-Aid, the rhetoric they're paying to become like L. Ron Hubbard. Did anyone not understand that that's what all of these adult grown men and women? So for all of you that want to be, well, but the women must have not been doing anything. The women were doing it the same. Sometimes they were even more sadistic than the men. Sometimes men had to rein women back. Several times we saw that. That's the level of delusional you get at that hotel. Those women were slave drivers. They wanted to be called sir. What type of grown-ass woman commands upwards of 80 or 90 kids that she literally grooms to all of them call her sir? Right, Angie Blankenship? Right, Debbie Cook? Right, Lori Englehart? Right, Pilar Saldarriaga? Sir. Women are not women. They're women are called sir. Right, Priscilla? Because that makes a lot of sense, right? That makes a lot of sense to you. A very religious environment that you were all privy to. So before you go, oh, but I never knew it. You knew it, Priscilla. You as a VIP have access to anywhere you want to go in Celebrity Center. A VIP, you'd have an entourage following you. Where do you want to go today? What can we do for you? Let me sweep the floor. Let me get you a coffee. Don't struggle with anything, Priscilla. We're here to make it all great and wonderful. Can we, put another $100,000 on the card, for Lisa's audits? Because, she's really going crazy and she really is doing a lot of crazy things. Priscilla, can we just run up the card for more handlings? Oh, don't worry. We're going to get the IRS to, take that off your taxes. So this is going to be a tax investment for you. That's what your daughter was for you, Priscilla. A tax investment, a tax vehicle. And it is a deep dive that we're doing today, you guys. So I'm glad you're all still here because there's more. There's more and more to share. And we're going to go with this, which is the Vanity Fair article on Riley Keough on growing up Presley, losing Lisa Marie, and inheriting Graceland. And this is going to be the sub-headline that applies to you, Priscilla. So write that down on your notes, underscore it, and circle it in red. Daisy Jones and the Six propelled her to stardom even as she navigated tragedies. New motherhood and a legal struggle with Priscilla. Notice how even Vanity Fair doesn't even call you Presley right there, Priscilla. Thought it was interesting. Legal struggle with Priscilla. Her grandfather died before she was born, but his house in Memphis stayed in the family. Graceland. Years ago, Riley Keough and her mom, Lisa Marie Presley, would visit for Thanksgiving with Keough's brother and sisters. They would stay at the official hotel, and when the tourists departed the legendary home for the day, they go over and hang out, drive golf carts around the grounds, and celebrate the season together. When Elvis's chefs were alive, they used to still cook dinner for us, which was really special, she tells me. It was very southern, greens and fried catfish and fried chicken and hush puppies, cornbread and beans, banana pudding. So notice right here, Priscilla, the juxtaposition between the type of Thanksgivings that Lisa was providing for her beloved children, that she did want them to have a childhood, that she did let go around and be kids and just have fun in the golf carts. Something that you were very, very much against, since we do know from the book that Lisa said that every time she came to LA, she had to really acquiesce real quick to your disgusting method of programming her. It is an early evening in May, Keough's 34th birthday, as it happens. And we are in a hotel lobby outside St. Gallen, Switzerland, hoping a waiter will materialize. So, you guys, Riley is about 11 years younger than me. And yes, she was a literal baby at the Scientology Fort Harrison Hotel when Lisa and Danny had just had her, where I first learned about her, where I first saw her. So it is a full circle moment as we sit here knowing what we know today. The place is nearly empty. An elderly woman sleeps in a wheelchair. A bartender swats flies away from a sweating cheese plate. From a sweating cheese plate. Oh God, I have misunderstood you guys. I just stumbled. That's what L. Ron Hubbard did to us. Anytime you stumbled reading out loud, what's the misunderstood word? A pianist is attempting to enliven happy hour with a classical rendition of REM's Losing My Religion. Isn't that interesting, guys? How synchronicity works that way. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my religion. Oh my God, I would listen to that song over and over, you guys, but I never understood like that's what was screaming to me, that song. Like, I wanted to lose this bullshit religion that didn't even feel like religion. I think Laura said it the other day. Every time that people bring up like, oh, religion, it's like even we knew that our parents were so pressed to make everyone think, oh, that's your religion, it's a religion. But we knew that they knew they were full of shit. Like they didn't believe themselves to be a religion. They're like, we have a technology. We just have to call it religion so that the lawyers and the authorities let us do our little scam and our little scheme. The chords reverberate around the vast, sterile rotunda. Here's Riley Keough, the actor and filmmaker, on growing up Presley, losing Lisa Marie, and inheriting Graceland. There were a few times that we slept there, Keough says, of Graceland, but I don't know if I should say that. He pauses. The second floor has always been closed to the public out of respect for Elvis Presley's family, because the singer had a fatal heart attack there. Then again, Keough's family was Presley's family. Who had the right to be there if not them? The tours would start in the morning, and we would hide upstairs until they were over, she continues. The security would bring us breakfast. It actually was such a great memory. We would order sausages and biscuits and hide until the tourists finished. In the coming weeks, I'll hear Keough's unself-conscious laugh and see the spitfire side of her that her close friends adore. But today she speaks softly and carefully with her knees pulled up to her chest. Life has thrown a lot at her in short order, some of it joyous, some of it obliterating. The death of her brother by you know what in 2020. The birth of her and her husband's daughter in 2022. The death of her mother following complications of prior weight loss surgery earlier this year. The debut of her star-making 70s rock series Daisy Jones and the Six, for which she was nominated for an Emmy. A surprising legal fight with her, drum roll, grandmother, Priscilla Presley, over Lisa Marie's estate and hence Graceland, as well as the family's interest in Elvis Presley Enterprises. So I want to bring this up to all of yours attentions, this specific part here, because again, as it's being literally here reported by the corporate press, that surprising legal fight with you, Priscilla. So remember when Priscilla was being interviewed in that, alleged surprise event where she really showed up in Memphis, because Priscilla is very pressed that she wants to be buried there in Memphis, that is really her right, that she built up this legacy, that Riley should be just so thankful for all of her what, Priscilla? What should your grandkids be thankful for? What exactly should they be thankful for? Because again, you, surprise, surprise, here's a lawsuit from your grandma. Yay. Let's not forget Riley was dealing with how much, Priscilla, before you dump your little temper tantrum because you saw an opportunity to do what exactly, Priscilla? How old are you? You wanted to do what exactly? Because Lisa was relying on you exactly how? Because the body language that has been seen on you and her and everybody that knows you knows just how much you were not in any type of inner circle. Your whole campaign had been, I've done so much for this family. I've done so much for this legacy. You all owe me everything. I'm the one that did it, everything. And then you try to blame everything on Lisa. Oh, Lisa lost it all. Oh, I really wanted to do what was best for everybody. BS, Priscilla. Total, utter BS. And you know that. You, more than anybody, knows how little you really did for this family. You know that personally. You spent a whole months of decades alleging you really wanted to save our world and be real good and do a lot of charity. But you know what? We're not seeing any type of contributions to any type of charitable things. Not a lot is showing up on the public record that we can see. Keough and I will talk about all of this. She will introduce me to her baby and tell me the girl's name, which she never made public before. And it makes sense, you guys. Riley is not Priscilla. This is really like diametrically opposite of Priscilla. Riley doesn't have to try hard because she has already natural raw talent. She's been getting her roles, her acting roles, her modeling roles since she was very little. I mean, again, to some degree, adulticized in that environment where Scientology just told all the kids they were adults. So did she start working too young? Maybe. But you know what? At least she was doing what she wanted. Lisa made sure she was happy and she was at least cared for to that degree. Because again, what Lisa was not, Priscilla, was you. So that's the great thing about Lisa. She never became you, thank God. She will say of the losses that she suffered, that there were times it felt like something fundamental had broken inside her. But now in the hotel lobby, she says simply, "This is not my best birthday." It is her first without her mother, for one thing. Last year, I was in Greece wrapping up Daisy Jones. I found out that I won the Camera d'Or. I was on the beach and it all happened at the same time. It was beautiful. I feel like that will ride with me this one. Keough is now the sole custodian of Graceland and the family shares of Elvis Presley Enterprises, all of which were worth just $5 million at the time of Elvis' death and are now reportedly in the neighborhood of $500 million. She's also a rising star, producer, art director, the award at Cannes for the drama War Pony, which she co-directed with Gina Gamel about two Lakoya boys on a reservation in South Dakota. Everything that happened to Keough this year, good and bad, happened in full public view and will continue to. Oof. There's the Kennedys and then there's the Presleys, says director Baz Luhrmann, who got to know Keough and her mother while working on Elvis. They are the royal families of America, and in different ways, they were both, as Shakespeare says, wedded to calamity. Is it genetic? Is it because they have such high standards? It is because the world watches them? Maybe. Because to be American royalty is not just to have your country watch you. To be American royalty is to have the whole world watch you. Isn't that interesting, you guys? That here we have from this man, Baz Luhrmann, that talks about how the whole world has been watching. And yet, how much intervention was ever done to rein back some of the dysfunctional things that Priscilla were made sure were going on in her family's lineage? So we're talking that if the Presleys, who are supposed to be watched by the entire world, didn't raise a shred of red flag for everyone in the corporate media, everyone in law enforcement, all across the entirety of the world, with all the scrutiny that Lisa was under, with all the scrutiny that happened when her father passed away, with all the things that Priscilla was doing at the time behind the scenes, with the help of who, Priscilla? Oh yeah, didn't you already got? Oh yeah, because you brought Elvis. You wanted to convert him, right? And when that didn't go your way because he humiliated you in the paper, something that I'm sure you took very, very personal, Priscilla, because I guess you did really identify with the Scientologists, right? You were told you're a celebrity, which is what you wanted to be told your whole life, that you were special, but there was nothing special about you other than your look. and your audacity to leverage everything to, oh yeah, what can I get out of this for myself? Just for myself. I don't give an F about anybody else. What's in it for me? So the whole world was watching them and nobody did a shred of a literal thing. Good to know. The waiter never shows up. Kyo smiles politely at the pianist's efforts. Let's go for a walk, she says. The guy's over there playing The Little Mermaid with Bono glasses on. Her husband and daughter, who are as jet lagged as she is, are sleeping upstairs. Efficient glass doors snap open and shut and pass a placard about the history of the hotel. It is a former Swiss sanatorium. I see why Kyo prefers to be outside as often as possible. The Alps in one direction, Lake Constance in the other. Now, interesting, you guys, that we're at a Swiss sanatorium. I'm sure L. Ron Hubbard surrogates didn't approve of that hotel. I'll tell you that much. I asked the obvious question, why are we in Switzerland? I have Lyme disease, Kyo says. She pulls her long hair, still damp from the shower, away from her bare face. I use this little break that I have to come and try and see if I can alleviate it for a bit. It is a holistic treatment center that offers all kinds of things that you can really do in America. Yet like it's like yet like cleaning your blood. She's never addressed Lyme in detail before. Later, I will ask her Daisy Jones co-star Sam Claflin if he saw Kyo struggle with pain during production. Once she told me there were moments where I'd catch it, he says. I'd noticed that she disengaged in fleeting moments between scenes. The fact that she has all the underlying on her day-to-day routine and it's battling that on top of everything else is nothing short of miraculous. Kyo herself doesn't discuss the debilitating symptoms she's lived with. She's conscious that people may write her off as a poor little rich girl. There? Can you guys hear me again? No sound? No? You can hear? Okay. Okay, good. So, workaholic, you guys. In Scientology, they program you to think that your value is you're only as valuable as you can be of service to others. That's how they pitch it. You don't have intrinsic value. You have to prove your value by overproducing. You have to prove that you're worth it. You have to prove that you have it. You have to always be proving and proving and proving. Now, knowing this workaholic trauma symptom that I did have for myself as well, as is very common for all of us that came out of this, is like we can't sit still because it hurts, because then the intrusive thoughts start coming. Then we have to think of our past, and we just get overwhelmed and we just get stuck. So being a workaholic is very lauded, great, and amazing. In Scientology, they tell you that your morale is only as good as your production. So you're only going to be happy if you're producing, producing, producing. So there's always so much effort. And I mean, it looks to me, and I feel really bad because I just feel like she's running away from so much because there's just so much coming against her. You know, let's not forget this is all on the backdrop of Priscilla suing her. This week, Keo wrapped production in Vancouver on a mini-series she's producing and starring in for Hulu, Under the Bridge. It appeared in Mexico City at Dior's 2024 cruise show and celebrated the launch of a new Cartier jewelry collection in Florence. She's also been shepherding new projects at her and Gamel's production company, Felix Culpa. And here she is in Switzerland doing an interview with me after 8 hours of uncomfortable treatment on her birthday. I ask where she thinks she got her work ethic from. Not from my parents, she says. Damn, Riley, nice way to. But here you guys see the difference of the parenting that Riley had. She was never in the Sea Org. Lisa was being her mom. Scientology was around them mostly because Lisa was stuck with them because Priscilla has put them all in there. But, you know, Lisa was not making them work. She was not like, Lisa worked and lived in Calabasas. She wasn't having Riley dig trenches for her. She wasn't having her carry rocks across the lawn. Lisa was very much about letting them, you know, have fun. Her father's a musician, Danny Keogh, not from anyone in my family. I came out of the womb like that. Keogh's wearing a smock shirt, blue jeans, and sherbet slippers. She takes off the slippers and digs her toes into the grass. I think we're half nature, half nurture. I was naturally somebody that was very punctual and hardworking and wanted to do things. My upbringing was very different to that. It was very no schedule. Sometimes we go to school, sometimes we don't. That was what I was used to. I was living out my teen and childhood years as though that was what I wanted. I'm definitely an adventurous and spontaneous person, but I thrive on routine. My parents said when I was little, I was very much trying to organize things and make things happen. Reese Witherspoon, an executive producer for Daily Jones, puts Keogh's career in context, namely, despite all the money and the trappings that seem to facilitate an easier life, that is very, very challenging life. To be under constant scrutiny and still rise to the top and still perform at the highest level. I'm really in awe of her in how much she challenged herself. And don't sleep on this undeniable truth because she didn't have to. I mean, yeah, but she this is she was always into this, you guys. She like she said, she was driven. She's always been driven, and I think a little too driven if she's not taking any vacations because it's giving again trauma response because it's sad. It's very sad. Keo made the cover of People when she still had a pacifier in her mouth. She was born in 1989 in Santa Monica, and her mom posed with her alongside the cover line. Elvis's first grandchild. Here she is. The magazine reportedly paid $300,000 for the exclusive. Keogh's father is Irish and Jewish. Her mother was Scottish, Irish, Norwegian, Indigenous, and very hillbilly. As for herself, Keogh says, I'm an American girl. This particular American girl's parents met while mom was living in this Scientology Hotel Celebrity Center in Los Angeles. So that's where they met. So this was after Priscilla had dumped her there at 2 a.m. when she was hysterical. I grew up with my dad reading tarot cards, books, and metaphysics, she tells me. Well, I don't know about tarot card books and metaphysics, Riley, because that would have been considered other practices. But I guess you could kind of call Scientology hocus pocus. He's very spiritual. I'm very spiritual. Faith is a loaded word for people, but I think faith is faith in anything. Faith in love, humanity, for the universe, whatever it is. I don't go to church, but I was always able to identify that spirituality was something that I really needed in my life. So that's interesting, you guys, because she's kind of insinuating, yeah, you can have faith in anything, and this could kind of go two ways. Like, I'm not going to try and say that L. Ron Hubbard is a faith, but I don't go to church. And the Church of Scientology was just referenced regarding her mom. That's what I was telling you that, yeah, it's just interesting the way she said it. I don't go to church, but I always am able to identify that spirituality was something I really needed in my life. Her family split their time between California and Florida and Hawaii, and Keough's late brother, Benjamin Storm Keough, was born in 1992 at the Scientology hotels, you guys. That's exactly when I was there as well. Around this time, Keough's already unusual childhood slogged off any remaining balance of normality. In 1993, Michael Jackson was accused of essaying a 13-year-old boy. He turned to his close friend Lisa Marie for support. A year later, after Jackson had settled with the boy's family for a reported $20 million, he proposed to her. She separated from Danny Keough, and 20 days later, she and Jackson eloped to the Dominican Republic. The media suspected the marriage was a publicity stunt to rehabilitate Jackson's reputation, but Lisa Marie denied it. I am very much in love with Michael. I dedicate my life to being his wife. Jackson's addiction to pills has since been cited as the reason the marriage dissolved a year and a half later. So, yeah, this is the part where it gets very, very tricky because she had two kids with Danny Keough, who I was just reached out of by people that did see them be together at the Free Winds ship, which is where they met. And they said that they were, in their opinion of what they observed, actually in love, that Danny was very sweet to Lisa, and Lisa liked that. So they did meet there in Scientology. And then this whole thing with Michael, longtime friend. I mean, I think that's a little saying it too much. It wasn't like a longtime friend. I think Michael manipulated Lisa. Michael needed Lisa way more than Lisa ever needed Michael, but Lisa wanted to be there for him because she understood how people in the limelight could sometimes be unjustly judged. However, there's a lot there that's just, you know, not very good. Not very good, including the fact that, he was a virgin at 35. That doesn't make sense. My whole childhood was probably very extreme, Keough says. My whole childhood was very extreme. She breaks the tension with one of her big grotto laughs. In hindsight, I can see how crazy these things would be to somebody from the outside. But when you're living in them, it's just your life and your family. You just remember the love. And I had real love for Michael. Keough was obviously too young to be aware of the accusations swirling around Jackson. So her memories are often idyllic, like the time the singer shut down a toy store in Paris. Maybe it was London when she needed a teddy bear. I think he really got a kick out of being able to make people happy in the most epic way possible, which I think he and my grandfather had in common. I point out the surreal fact that Keough was called both Graceland and Neverland home. Which one did I like better? She wonders out loud. I spend more time at Neverland than Graceland, to be honest. That was a real home, where Graceland was a museum in my lifetime. After Lisa Marie and Jackson split, she married Nicolas Cage. 4 months later, she separated. Keough doesn't keep in touch with Cage. But she says that
She began to do a movie with him. He's a great actor, she says. I've had some wild stepfathers, famous and not famous. She steers the conversation back to Danny Keough, whose humble lifestyle had a grounding effect when she was young. Her life was so fragmented, says Gamel, a close friend as well as Keough's producing partner. He's someone who had no money, and she had this incredible regular life with him. And then eras with her mom that were extraordinary. That's why she's so comfortable in any place. Lisa Marie's base was Calabasas, California, a town now globally known thanks to the Kardashians. The gated community Hidden Hills has been home to Madonna, Will Smith, Drake, Miley Cyrus, and more. I think we lived there. It was just us and Melissa Edridge. It was a horse country, says Keough. I'm an OG Calabasas girls. The Kardashians were there too, but this was long before the show. My grandma dated their dad, I think, Keough says. Fact check that. Really interesting, Priscilla, that you were out there dating the Kardashians' dad. Because you were definitely the type to be dating a lot in your life, weren't you? She's right. Priscilla dated Robert Kardashian after her divorce from Elvis in 1973. She refused to marry him while Elvis was still alive, so they parted ways. Interesting, Priscilla. In 2014, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West bought the property where Keough's childhood home once stood. The original house had been demolished and a bigger one built. West enlisted Axel Dervold to design the family compound where Kim lives now. Interesting, you guys. I went to that compound in Hidden Hills, and she's right. This was all before anybody really gave an F about Calabasas. As a teenager, Keough's family traveled so much that it was hard to get traction at school. I was always at a loss, she says. My father really cared about my education. My mom was like, "You're an artist, go be an artist." Keough didn't graduate from high school, though she still wants to someday. She turned to the books as well as museums, films, and anything else she could use to educate herself. I like math, she says, and my grammar isn't as bad as you think given the circumstances. So there you go, you guys. Like the kids in Scientology, lots of us didn't finish high school, and yet we can still read or write. At 14, Keough began modeling. She was a catwalk mainstay for a few seasons and a notched at bow cover with Mom and Grandma as well as Miss Dior campaign. Through it all, her friend group has remained consistent with Dakota Johnson, Zoe Kravitz, Kristen Stewart among her dearest and nearest. Well, Vanity Fair article, there's other girls that are not these girls that you just mentioned that we can confirm Dakota was definitely very close to her. We can confirm that, and Zoe and Kirsten Stewart, but other ones too. All three describe Keough as graceful, humble, and fearless, and for the record, they don't seem to have strategized in a group text beforehand. Ha ha ha. Yeah, you guys, I mean, I agree with this. She is graceful. Riley was always nice to me, even after I came out, even after I found out that I had left Scientology. Riley had gay friends. Lisa allowed, which was again completely against the rules. It would drive Mary Bogating, the president of the Flag Hotel, mad. She would go, "Oh my God, Lisa, why are gays with Riley?" And she was just like, "Get off our lines, Mary Bogating. We don't give an F. They're friends. Let them leave them alone." So Riley was very much doing her own life. And Lisa was having her have her own life. And even though Scientology would go nuts because they couldn't control her, that also Lisa acted as a big buffer for her to just be left alone. Like people knew not to F with her for sure. They're incredulous at the strength that she's displayed over the past 3 years. I would do anything to take her pain away, says Johnson. And they note that Keogh's quietness makes you lean in and pay attention, both on screen and off. She's delicate, they say, not to be confused with weak. Kravitz and Keogh were breastfed in close proximity because their moms were friends. And somewhere there's a VH tape of them running around 3-year-old birthday party together, but it was a chance New Year bash at 16 that bonded them for life. I think consistency is a thing that I've always appreciated about Riley. Kravitz says no matter what situation we're in, no matter what crowd we're in, she's always the same person. I never questioned her integrity. Then a laugh. She's definitely got this crazy little demon inside of her that likes to just, give her a couple tequilas and she is rowdy. I relate all of this to Keogh and she erupts in laughter. I don't think the wildness exists in the same way now, she says. I don't really drink anymore, but definitely in my late teens, in my mid 20s, I was an adventurer. Now I'm a bit of a granny. Johnson met Keogh in an In-N-Out parking lot when they were 16. It was like finding a soulmate, Johnson tells her. Her own parents, Dan Johnson and Melanie Griffith, were on the cover of People when she was newly conceived. The cover line blaring, "They're preggers." When I met her, I felt this thing that is so impossible to articulate. Growing up in a famous family, Johnson continues. There was this solidarity, understanding. We would just smoke cigarettes with our moms. And they call each other and be like, I guess she's going to stay with you for the next 4 days. Call me if she needs a ride. I'll go to Riley's and then leave a week later. I don't know if that's normal, but yeah, just running around LA, sharing clothes, smelling like Nag Champa. Most of it involved music festivals, dating musicians, of course. Seeing her old friend in Daisy Jones and the Six is all tracks. It all tracks. Since the Emmy nominated series debuted this year, Keogh has almost been frustratingly humble about her singing voice, saying she sang softly here and there when she was growing up, but not much more. Johnson, it turns out, had a better memory. When we were 19, we started a joke band called Folky PORN. She says, Riley and I both had blonde hair. We were hiding out in New York after breakups. We would do 3-part harmonies with my brother, Alexander, on Hank Williams songs and John Prine songs, and we filmed them on a photo booth. Thousands of takes. I relay all of this to Keogh, and she's thrilled to be reminded of her teenage pipe dream. Oh my goodness, Dakota did discover me, she says. I've been lying to the world. I was in a band. I asked Keogh if she'd rather go on tour with the Six of the Folky Porn. Don't ask me those kinds of questions, she protests, laughing. It's very controversial, but I would rather go with Folky. Keogh snagged her first professional acting job in The Runaways, a biopic about the 70s band with Stewart as John Jett. She was kind of an elusive figure on the set because she was with us so briefly, but she comes with a backed-in, unavoidable gravitas, Stewart tells me. She's Elvis' grandkid, so obviously we were curious about her. Do you know what I mean? And she was really, really, I mean this affectionately, painfully shy. So painfully shy, you guys. I mean, if Riley didn't know you, you pretty much didn't exist. So the only reason she knew I existed was because of one of her best friends in Scientology having a connection to do with me. So, like I said, she was always very nice, but she was painfully shy and is. In her early 20s, Keogh self-taped on audition for a scene stealing role as a stripper in Steven Soderbergh's Magic Mike. Well, that's one thing we have in common, Riley. We all both can work a pole, but I might be able to work it better than you by now, girl. The director not only cast her, but worked with her in 2 subsequent projects as well. Logan Lucky and The Girlfriend Experience, the latter earning her a Golden Globe nomination. The most surprising thing about Riley is her complete fearlessness in performing, Soderbergh says. She protects nothing, whatever her process is, and she must have a process. You don't just roll up with stuff this great. She wouldn't dream of burdening anyone with it. I mean, I can't find anything wrong with her. Stewart seconds this. She's the best thing in everything she's done because she's not acting. She's a solid sender. She always is being honest. And that's a vulnerable place to put yourself. And I don't mean that to belittle my any project, but there are some actors that just can't do anything uninteresting. So in these hotels, you guys, in Scientology hotels, they teach you how to act. You're reading scripts, you're regurgitating scripts, you're doing drills to come across natural, relaxed, and friendly, is what they tell you. You always have to come natural, relaxed, and friendly. You can never have a misemotion. So there's a lot of this that is being drilled into you. And Riley had a front row seat at that dysfunction, even though she wasn't as exposed to it as other kids were, because Lisa kept protecting her from really doing much of that disgusting shit. Keogh met the Australian stuntman and actor Ben Smith Peterson in 2013 while making Mad Max Fury Road, and later they road trip to Byron Bay. I remember it so vividly. I just knew that we were going to have kids, Keogh says. It was in hindsight very strange. I didn't know how we get there, but we did. The couple married in 2015. Both Keogh and Stewart still light up at the memory of the bachelorette trip to Central California's oasis of Kitsch de Madonna Inn. We really good at hotel room hangs, Stewart tells. We never been kicked out of a hotel though. That's saying something. We were listening to Spice Girls, the Backstreet Boys, and TLC, says Keogh. The rooms were pink and glittery. We work, P headbands, headbands. We ate dinner in the weird little restaurant and we were too loud, says Stewart. There's really unflattering paparazzi picture of us hangover the next morning, forever on the internet, says Keogh. It's my most fun memory. Google her name and the bachelorette party. The photo looks like a poster for a heist film. Back in Switzerland, the sun is setting and Keogh has wrapped herself in a sweater. We're so many hours ahead of LA. We started talking inside, and only a birthday wishes. She gotten very automatic emails from her doctors and dentist offices. Ever since we sat in the grass, though, her phone has been singing with alerts from friends. Keogh smiles. Oh my God, so many texts. I must be special, she jokes. We say goodbye for the day in the lobby as Keogh slips away to join her husband and daughter. The pianist is all seriousness now, starts playing Can't Help Falling in Love. Too late, Riley has left the building. The world first discovered that Keogh and her husband had welcomed daughter at Lisa Marie's funeral at Graceland in January. Keogh wrote an eulogy but was too overcome to deliver it, so her husband read it for her. It included these lines: I hope I can love my daughter the way you love me, the way you love my brother and my sisters. Thank you for giving me strength, my heart, my empathy, my courage, my sense of humor, my manners, my temper, my wildness, my tenacity. I'm a product of your heart. On a hot June afternoon, Keogh hugs me hello outside the unassuming 70s track house that she and Smith Peterson has been renting at the end of the cul-de-sac in Calabasas. Don't judge. This isn't my aesthetic, she says. After my mom died, I needed to be close to my sisters. There were only 3 houses available out there, so we just moved in. We were stuck. The family's moving to more private place tomorrow. Even now, there's paparazzo parked at the end of the street, and Smith Peterson is packing boxes in the garage. The family will still be close to Keogh's 14-year-old half-sisters, Harper and Finley Lockwood, which is imperative. Lerman remembers Keogh at Lisa Marie's funeral, physically holding the twins. as people filed past in the garden. I asked if the new place is her ideal home. No, but I love suburbia, she says. This is my dream normalcy. I'm happy out here. Keo ushers me inside, and over the barking of the family's dog, Sushi, and Grubs, I hear an infant cry. Hi, baby, she says. Then to me, this is Tupelo. Tupelo Storm Smith Peterson arrived via surrogate in August 22. Keo says of surrogacy, I think it's very cool, selfless, and incredible act that these women do to help people that can't carry children. But I feel like the best choice for what I had going on physically because of this autoimmune stuff. As for her daughter's name, Tupelo, of course, was the king of rock and roll's birthplace in Mississippi. It's funny because we picked her name before the Elvis movie, Keo says. I was like, this is great because it's really a well known word or name in relation to my family. It's not like Memphis or something. A big laugh at her naivete. Then, when the Elvis movie came out, it was like Tupelo, this is Tupelo, that. I was like, oh no, but it's fine. Her daughter's middle name is a tribute to her late brother Benjamin Storm Keogh, who died when he was 27. Keogh reaches a playpen and picks up her 10-month-old girl. There's no question who the father is. She's literally like someone shrunk my husband, and that's our baby, Keogh says. Then softly she lets me in on a secret. I'll show you where I am. She turns to Pelo so the back of her head faces me. This curl right here, Keogh smiles and tugs gently on a blonde tendril at the nape of the baby's neck. I also see Keogh's into Pelo's eyes and smile. Keogh tries to hand the baby to her sister, but Tupelo wants mama, so the three of us make our way to the backyard where a wooden bench overlooks a man-made lake. Tupelo's coos in her mother's lap and plays with my sunglasses. This is the thing in my life so far I have really wanted, quote unquote, get right, Keogh says. I don't think you could ever be a perfect parent, but I think I'd like to be the best mom for her that I can be. That's Keogh pauses for a long time. Very important to me. I hear echoes of this in her eulogy from her mom. I'm certain I choose the best mother for me in the world, and I knew that this as far back as I can remember you. Later, when Tupelo's napping and the California sun is bearing down, Keogh sits in a lounge chair in a white tank top, yellow bikini bottom, and straw sun hat. She has sunglasses perched on the tip of her nose, and she's eating a red apple. After 15 days of treatment in Switzerland, she's feeling better. It's the first thing she's tried that worked. Since we last met, Keogh's settlement with her grandmother has been made public. In return for becoming the sole trustee of Lisa Marie's estate, Keogh will reportedly pay Priscilla $1 million and cover $400,000 in legal fees. $400,000 in legal fees, right, Priscilla? But you had no problem, and everybody got it wrong, and the tabloid said that we're fighting. Do you know what type of attorney time you really have to spend $400,000 in legal fees? How many hours, how many intensives of attorney's times are you buying, Priscilla? Because like I said yesterday, Priscilla sued Elvis, Lisa via Riley. So that's what you go for, right, Priscilla? When you're desperate, you just sue. So who's advising you to sue? Is it Scientology or is this you? Her lawyer says that Keogh wouldn't have settled if she wasn't happy. She says she knew these questions were coming, so she takes a breath. when my mom passed, there was a lot of chaos in every aspect of our lives. Everything felt like the carpet had been ripped out of the floor, had melted from under us. Everyone was in a bit of a panic to understand how we move forward. And it just took a minute to understand the details of the situation because it is complicated. We are a family, but there's also a huge business side of our family. So I think that there was clarity that needed to be had. And clarity's been had. She smiles. Clarity's been had. Are things with grandma happy? Things with grandma will be happy, Keo says. They never not been happy. She pauses to assemble her thoughts. Things with grandma will be happy. They never not been happy. I'm trying to think of a way to answer it so that it's not a 20-minute conversation. Another long pause. There was a bit of upheaval, but now everything's going to be how it was. She's a beautiful woman, and she was a huge part of creating my grandfather's legacy and Graceland. See how graceful your granddaughter is having to be to you, Priscilla, because who's the one that's been pitching ad nauseum? Oh, but if it wasn't for me, she's even having to tell you that you're a beautiful woman. Well, you know what? We're going to tell you, you're not that beautiful, given that you have literally done every wrong thing that you could have possibly do. Your life is a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself with what you did to bring all of these people into your hotel of dysfunction, into getting all manner of attorneys to sue your own family, to pay your own legal bills, to pay you another $1 million because you really did this and you really did that, right, Priscilla? Because according to you, you did it all. According to you, oh yeah, you know, this and that, and you're just so full of it. And the public record is what dictates that, Priscilla. So before you go, oh, everyone on the internet is projecting that I'm this evil person, go check the record. Go check how many false pitches you've already put on the public record. So you really don't have a shred of credibility. That's what happens, Priscilla. When you go on the public record and lie and misreport and falsely sanitize and purport that's what happens to you. In the year 2024, that might have worked back in the day where no one could report on anything, where, you know, if the corporate media could be bought off, then, oh, everything is great and Priscilla is a wonderful person. But today, times have shifted. And the internet is waking up to your scams and your schemes and just how responsible you are for a lot more than what you want to be held responsible for. It is very important to her. Again, Riley is having to literally put you on a pedestal that you never deserved, Priscilla. You don't deserve a single shred of pedestal. Start looking at your actions. Start looking at what's in the book, Priscilla. Take a look. If there's not stuff in that book, in that knowledge report of a book, you know what? That's what they call it in Scientology, you guys. When you really gonna be outed for some shit, they write a knowledge report. You know what Lisa did for you, Priscilla? She put a knowledge report out to the world. She put you on blast. And imagine all you think is gonna take for everyone to go delulu. Oh, Priscilla really wants to be a grandmother. Oh, yeah, she really cared about the Elvis legacy. So why did you disrespect the Elvis legacy, Priscilla? Why did so much of his money end up invested in your Scientology? What are you going to do with this $1 million? How much of that million is going to Scientology, Priscilla? Who else do you have to cut in on your deals? Who do you have helping you from the president's office? Who do you have helping you from OSA? Who do you have helping you from Celebrity Center president's office? Who do you have helping you from the ethics office? Who? Who are you sticking on Riley to make sure that she comes to her knees? Because you really have to respect your elder, Priscilla Presley. Miss, I'm in all of it for myself. How do I get a paycheck out of everything? I have no self-awareness. I have no limits. I have no boundaries. I'll go tell a lawyer to really file paperwork that Lisa had what was it, a false will, that there's a false signature of Lisa is what you were alleging, Priscilla, for $400,000. So just before you understand how serious you were taking your shit, it was almost $500,000 of seriousness. It was very important to her. He was the love of her life. Yeah, right, Priscilla. Elvis was not the love of your life. You disrespected him plenty of times. It's all over the public record, Priscilla. So again, before you go, oh, no, it's on the public record how much you disrespected. Anything that would suggest otherwise in the press makes me sad, because at the end of the day, all she wants is to love and protect Graceland and the Presley family and the legacy. Well, that's where we are going to run into a disagreement here with Riley. I'm sorry to say, Priscilla has not shown in the physical universe. In the physical universe, not with you blabbing, Priscilla. You blab and blab and blab, but you know what blabbing is in reality? Pitching. He was the love of my life, you guys, and then look at the facts. Oh, he says he was the love of my life, but he was suing him twice. Priscilla, why are you suing the love of your life twice? Why are you putting him in dire financial stress? He was about to lose Graceland, the thing that he loved the most, because you sued him a second time, right? But that was the love of your life. Imagine being the type of woman that has gotten so much Botox and fillers that she cannot move her face. And she's like, yeah, he was the love of my life. You have no idea. Love of your life that you sued. And you knew the type of pressure you were putting under him. You knew that he wasn't doing well in those last few years, but you didn't give a literal F, did you? That's her whole life. That's her whole life of lies, Priscilla. That's your whole life of lies being exposed on the internet. Because plenty of people are catching up to your little sham and your little scheme. You thought you were so smart, and you couldn't have been more stupid. You couldn't have been more zero self-awareness, zero looking at consequences, zero being an adult. You infantilized yourself, Priscilla. You went to those hotels and said, oh, I'm a celebrity. Help me, help me. I really need some help here. And what did you do? Get a bunch of Scientology handlers to help you scheme, to help you stick your fangs deep inside that family and help yourself. You're the center of the dysfunction. You're the center of the chaos. You're the groomer. You're the one that exposed everyone to the disgusting convicted felon that you were paying to worship, Priscilla. So imagine that's your whole life. That's true. That is your whole life. And it's a big responsibility she's tried to take on. That's what you say, Priscilla. That's your pitch. Oh, I'm really trying to take responsibility. Why didn't you take responsibility when Lisa came to you, alleging that she had been essayed? That would have been a great time for you to show responsibility. But you know why you didn't want to show responsibility there? Because that implicated you. And instead of saying, like, get the F out of my house, I need to protect my child, you went and orchestrated an apology just to make sure we know that if there was no apology being orchestrated for you, then we wouldn't know that it literally corroborates Lisa's allegation about what happened. So imagine you literally broke an apology that shows us just how aware you were that there was something there to apologize about. So this is a total BS pitch that, oh yeah, I really want to, such a big responsibility. I'm really caring for myself. None of that stuff has really ever been a part of our relationship prior. She's just been my grandma. I mean, yeah. And I get it. I get it from, like I said, you guys, like, it's, this all puts Riley in a very, very, very uncomfortable position. She's literally been put in between situations that as kids we were overly exposed to all this stuff, but now we're adults, now we're grown, now we have to show up and literally try to ensnare all the lies, all the deception, all the betrayal, the betrayal blindness, things that Riley can still not even see for herself, because if she sees them, it's very, very hard to see just how deep the rabbit hole of her disgusting grandmother, the one that brought them all to the hotel, the one that said, oh, Elvin Hubbard is really going to teach you how to save your life. You didn't have Botox back then when you were pitching that, Priscilla. So you actually were using your whole face and your whole mouth and your whole movement to shepherd everyone in. Oh, yeah, go inside that hotel. Really going to help you. Oh, yeah, let's take my hysterical 17-year-old there and let me just dump her there for 8 months and let me not give an F. There have been conflicting reports online about whether Priscilla will be allowed to be buried at Graceland one day. I don't know why she wouldn't be buried at Graceland, says Keogh. I don't understand what the drama in the news was about. Yeah, if she wants to be, of course. Sharing Graceland with the world was her idea from the start. She pauses and swallows. I've always had a possible beautiful memory and association with Graceland. Now a lot of my family is buried there, so it is a place of great sadness at this point of my life. And I mean, again, you guys, how many times do we have to see that Riley is trying to keep it together, trying to be the adult in the room, trying to, to some degree, with Priscilla putting her in this position, because Priscilla is nowhere on the public record wanting to repudiate any of her disgusting ideas that she exposed the entire family to. That's the problem with you, Priscilla. You put everyone there. You brought them to the hotel. You were cashing checks because you were their FSM. Let me bring more people. Let me shove them in there and let me get my commission real quick. Imagine you call that a church. What type of church gives 10% commissions for people paying for donations? I mean, can anyone really leave it in the comments if your church is asking you to pay commissions for courses, that they're charging you and audits for getting you locked up against your will? If Lisa wanted to leave any of those sessions, Priscilla, what was going to happen to her? By all means, start typing that in a piece of paper and have your publicist publicize that. It makes sense of that. When you left Lisa there at 17 years old, as she had been doing coke at Celebrity Center, as is alleged in her book, where did she get the coke? Where did she get the idea to be doing coke, Priscilla? Where did she get that idea? Was that just her fault? Was that just Lisa's fault, right? Because she's an adult in a small body. So she must have pulled in seeing the coke. And you and Michael were not doing coke together, because that's what's alleged in his book, corroborated from a different source. And apparently you were doing coke yourself, Priscilla. So you were all coked out, exposing your underage child to that. not listening to her when she came to you, and then dumping her in a hotel. Imagine being you. So yeah, you could be married at Graceland, and guess what, Priscilla? You'll still always be buried in hell, which is exactly where you belong. You belong in hell. After everything you've done, after all the mothers that you've been ensnared in Scientology, as if you haven't been used as the poster child to get other mothers to go, we all want to be like Priscilla. We're so obsessed with her. Oh, yeah, I want to be doing her lifestyle. I just want to look like her. I just want to do her religion. I just want to really follow the Priscilla handbook. And there you have droves of idiotic, stupid drone Scientology mothers going and following on Priscilla's footsteps. Priscilla is not any type of role model. Breaking news. She would like you to believe that she was. She would like you to believe that she's, oh my God, I'm such a role model. But you know what, Priscilla? It's giving you're not a role model of anything. One of those people is her youngest brother. I mean, again, you guys, one of those people is her younger brother who was literally having a birthday today, a birthday that he's not here. Suffering, going on the record and saying, let's read exactly what Ben said, Priscilla, just so you know just how many things you have to start making sense on the public record with, real crisis managers that know what in the hell to write, that is not just a bunch of garbage that you keep writing and pretending everyone's going to forget everything and everyone's going to buy your version of the BS. And everyone can go to my community tab, receipts, the legacy of Elvis Presley's grandson, Keough's autopsy report revealed how he is not here anymore. On July 12, 2020, Keough unalived himself. The grandson of Elvis Presley struggled with drugs and alcohol. He blamed his upbringing in Scientology for many of his issues and claimed that the controversial cult messes you up. I mean, but yeah, Priscilla, you still want to be married right next to him, right? Why did you bring him to Scientology? Why did you bring Lisa to Scientology? Why did you let Riley be in Scientology? Why, Priscilla? You're the reason they got ensnared. So it is you who needs to answer up to this. You were the FSM. You were the one that was pushing it, grooming. Learn this bullshit word I just learned at the hotel. That's how you program Lisa. Learn that you're a degraded being. Learn that you are out of ethics. Learn that you're a drug case. That's the type of parenting Priscilla was pushing on Lisa. Let's make sure that that's actually fully understood. How much of this did you always project onto Lisa? Learn that you're an out 2D. Learn that you're a 1.1. That's the type of things that Priscilla teaches to underage kids behind closed doors so that no one has a question. Go read what L. Ron Hubbard said to do to kids. So everyone can have the receipt of exactly how rough L. Ron Hubbard did pitch to do things to kids who all his surrogates went with the pitch. They're just like us. They're just adults. They're not giving it. They can take it as extreme as we like it. Right, Priscilla? He is in a lot of ways felt like my twin, Keogh says. We were very connected and very similar. He was much quicker and wittier and a little smarter than me. She musters a laugh. He was very special soul. After Benjamin's death, Riley moved in with her mother for 6 months. After that, I would still sleep at her house like 2 or 3 times a week. She wanted us there. If it was up to her, I would have still lived there full time. Keogh says her mother Keo saw her mother at a party for Elvis Day after the Golden Globes this year. We had dinner, she says. That was the last time I saw her. I remember thinking how beautiful she looked, and that was my strongest memory of the dinner. When Keo addresses the accumulated tragedies head on, the sentences come in pieces. I've been through a great deal of pain, and I've had my parts of me have died, and it felt like my heart had exploded. But I also feel I am trying to think on how to phrase this. I have strengthened the qualities that come about through adversity. I ask her what she wants people to remember about her mother. Oh my gosh, she says, I think it would take hours and hours to summarize her. But she was really one of a kind. She lets out another of those booming laughs that seemed too big for her body. She was so unapologetically herself in every circumstance and so strong. Here the sentences start coming in pieces again. The life she had was not easy, and the treachery she endured, and the lack of real love and real friends. See that, Priscilla? The treachery. Imagine you're one of the biggest, most treacherous people that ever was able to put her in harm's way. And how many of her Scientology treacherous friends is she referring to here? How many people were looking to get something for themselves? How many people she was told to just trust because they were part of a hotel? Scientology hotels. Oh, we can do everything. We're the experts at everything, is what those Scientology hotel people tell everybody. We're experts at mental health because mental health doesn't even exist. Ha ha ha. Joke's on you. She definitely had some great friends and relationships in her life, but I don't think she really ever had people were just coming for her since she was born, wanting something from her and not being totally authentic. She had to develop very thick skin. She was very powerful presence and extremely loving and extremely loyal, a sort of lioness, a fierce woman, and a really wonderful mother. I think that would be my summary because I'm her daughter. She was the best mom. Gee, Priscilla, I wonder why Lisa doesn't have anything like this to say about you. And you would know. You saw what Lisa did with Riley. You saw how Lisa treated Riley. Riley's not under any type of gun to say anything she's not saying. I saw the love that Riley and Lisa had for themselves in real life. So, not a rave review for you in that book. She stops for a moment. When I lost my brother, there was no roadmap whatsoever, and it was a lot of big emotions that I didn't know what to do with, she said. When I lost my mom, I was familiar with the process and a little bit more, and I found working to be really helpful. I find it triggering when people say happiness is a choice. But in that moment, I felt like there was a choice in front of me to give up and let this event take me out or have the courage to work through it. I started trying to move through it and not let it take me out. I mean, whew. Keo clearly poured a lot of herself into Daisy Jones. This was one of those career making moments, and it was in her, Witherspoon says. She was willing to go there and really share a lot of deep personal experiences with the audience, especially if you get to episodes 8, 9, and 10, and you start to see this woman unraveling in a way that is so real and visceral and terrifying. She went there despite everything that's going on in her life. The last time I see Keo is a Thursday night in downtown LA at a concert of her friend Blake Mills, the singer songwriter responsible for most of the music of Daisy Jones. Ever the workaholic, Keo's carrying a tote bag with the dress, heels, and jewelry she just wore to a Jaeger Le Couture store opening across town. She changed into jeans and a white t shirt in the car. I asked how her family move went, and she tells me it's been postponed because the new place is still being painted. She's upbeat nonetheless. I like moving, she says. You can get rid of stuff. Seats have been reserved for Keo, but she'd rather be close to the front, so we thread through the crowd and soon her husband joins us. It's a small venue, a former Presbyterian church, and the AC is broken. Still Keo is in the centers in the Still Keo is a concert going. I wish I could be hanging on every word. Swaying with the music, really totally present. Every so often a lyric seems to hit home and she shares a loving glance with her husband. By 9 p.m., Keo is starving, so she times a Postmates delivery to eat outside during intermission. My parents said when I was little, I was very much trying to organize things and make things happen. Keo had hoped for Goop Kitchen, but it was closed. So there is no pretending that this isn't an LA story. She went with Erwan. Unfortunately, they forgot utensils. Keo laughs. I guess I'm eating vegan lasagna with my hands. The three of us sit on the steps outside the former church, and she does a night out. It's rare for the new parents. They are morning people who usually are in bed at 9. Neither can remember their last concert. Back inside, we listen to Mills until close to midnight. We're all fading, but Keo isn't ready to leave. One more song, she tells me, eyeing the clock. She leans into her husband's body. Her eyes never leave the stage. She smiles, never leaving her face. Mills introduces by, your, by Myself from Daisy Jones. The song was sung by Riley Keough, he says. It's a ballad about turbulence and self reliance, among other things, comparing life to a wind rough sea. When it is over, Keough says, I think that's a good one to end on. Outside, she hugs me goodbye and takes her husband's hand. They walk off into the night towards their car. They parked on the street like everybody else. There's a line at the end of the Daisy Jones. The chosen ones never know they are chosen, at her home in Calabasas. Isn't that different, you guys? Like, take a look at the line that Riley is talking about here, which says, the chosen ones never know they are chosen, compared to L. Ron Hubbard's, many are called and few are chosen. You tell me which of those lines is the one that makes a shred of sense. I asked Keo what she thought about it, and she joked about how she knew some chosen ones who definitely think they deserve to be chosen. Then she stopped deflecting. I think I've certainly been chosen for some wonderful things, and I've chosen for some horrible things too, she said. Yeah, you've been chosen without your consent to be ensnared in Scientology. And that is one of the horrible things that was chosen for you by Priscilla. I'm aware that I've been through a lot of crazy things, but I don't feel like a victim. I don't feel like poor Riley. I don't feel like a victim, you guys. This is one of the major things that the people in Scientology never actually start dealing with. and I wrote about this today in my community tab, where we talk about you cannot call out the pain in others that you cannot see on yourself. And that is part of the self-protection mechanism of your mind, being part of the delusion, being part of the betrayal blindness. Your mind doesn't allow you the luxury to see Priscilla, to see all of her betrayals clear as day, clear as water. So this whole thing about I don't feel like being a victim in Scientology, you're told you cannot ever be the victim of anything. You cannot say ever have any compassion for your thing. You cannot even see yourself as a victim. Even when horrible things happen to you, you still have to go, well, what did I do to pull it in? How am I getting myself to be in this situation? So imagine it was you, Priscilla, that was grooming everyone to accept that stupidity. That was your idea. You were pitching Elvin Hubbard to your family. Oh, you guys, I really read a book that's great. It's called Blame Yourself for Everything. I mean, what type of deranged woman are you? Seriously. Blame yourself for everything. But you know what, Riley? We do see and we do feel for you. And it's not on a victim level. It's on a let's get real level. There's been plenty of things that have been transpiring, things that you could not control. And imagine that Priscilla's still using that undue influence to control things. So that's why she's getting called out. Keough said this next part offhandedly, but it says a lot about her humility and her quest for normalcy, even as the world watches. I also don't really feel chosen. Ooh, you guys, there you have it. Those are our thoughts on Riley. Those are the thoughts that we have on this family as we continue demanding accountability and asking for things to start making a shred of sense. And yes, Priscilla, the whole world is waiting for you to start correcting the record, to start actually using your platform for good. If everything we're telling you is complete breaking news to you, then you could be doing a lot to start preventing it. If you had no clue whatsoever that Scientology was hurting kids, if that just completely went over your head, you have the capacity to change that today. You are in a so-called position of power, is what they told you at that hotel. Yes, you are in that position, Priscilla. You can start by advising all the mothers, all the Scientology mothers, to get the hell out before it's too late. To get the hell out before people start understanding the real definition of trafficking. Child trafficking, Priscilla. Something you should also work clear in a technical law dictionary. So you really can take a look. What happens when a mother dumps a daughter inside of a hotel for 7 months and she's underage? Because this is what we are discussing with everybody, Priscilla. The cat is out of the bag. Riley published the book. We have questions. We've looked at all your past statements. We're reviewing everything you've said on the record so we can really start understanding how you have been sanitizing, how you have been falsely distorting reality to fit a picture, to fit a pitch of who you are in this entire saga. Because literally, Vanity Fair reports that you spent $400,000 on a war against your own daughter and granddaughter. So it's called receipts, it's called money, it's called money talks more than your BS appearance at Memphis. And oh, aren't I such a relatable grandma? Please bury me here. Please make me matter. You couldn't be more pathetic, literally begging on your knees. But you know what? The mask has fallen, Priscilla. The literal mask has fallen because plenty of things have come to light. Before, everybody could go, yeah, we have no idea. We don't know how this could work. Now we don't have that confusion. We're not stuck in a delusion, and we are capable of reviewing what's already been put on the public record so that start asking questions, start pulling strings, Priscilla. They did teach us that at that hotel. Pull strings when things don't make sense. So why is your family in the position that they're in? It doesn't make sense, and yet the entirety of that connection can easily start getting connected if you just look at all the dysfunction that you have been at the very center of. It's almost like you're the eye of a hurricane. It's almost like you brought everyone to your chaos. So double check what's been going on. I know this was a deep dive, you guys. Thank you so much for staying in here. I believe this is a call for Riley to be free from all of this dysfunction, for her to go live her life, for Ben to be vindicated, for Lisa to be vindicated, for them to be advocated for, which is something that Priscilla is against. And you know what, Priscilla? We don't give an F what you think. We're going to advocate for them. We're going to advocate for what we know happened to them, with what they said happened to them, with the screams of help that they were making for themselves that you never gave an F about because you wanted everyone there in Scientology. And look what happened. I thank you guys so much for watching, subscribing, liking, growing awareness, demanding accountability, all things that we have at our fingertips. And kids are owed advocates. So the more people we have advocating for kids, the less of these disgusting, atrocious power dynamic imbalances can survive. And that's why it matters that we continue demanding accountability, demanding for the people that were involved at the very top tier of this hotel chain, all senior executives, all celebrity people, starting with those two buckets of groups, all those people that are parents that brought kids into it. That's how this dysfunctional bubble needs to be bursted, because the corruption is busting at the literal seams. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.